There's something about a woman that a man can feel before she ever says a single word. It is not always her beauty. It is not the clothes she wears. It is not how many messages she sends him or how hard she tries to keep his attention. Sometimes the most powerful thing a woman can do is simply change the way she carries herself. Because when a woman knows her worth, she does not have to announce it. A man can see it in her eyes. He can feel it in her presence. He notices it in the way she responds instead of reacts, the way she listens instead of competes, and the way she can walk away from disrespect without begging someone to treat her better. And here's the part most women don't realize. Attraction is often created by the things you don't say. You can tell a man you like him 100 times, but if your energy says insecurity, fear, or desperation, those words will never carry the power you think they do. On the other hand, a woman who is comfortable in her own skin can say almost nothing and still leave a man thinking about her long after she has walked away. So if you have ever wondered what makes a man become emotionally drawn to a woman without her chasing him, convincing him, or constantly trying to prove herself, pay attention, because these 7 feminine qualities are not about playing games. They are about becoming the kind of woman whose presence speaks louder than her words. The first thing that can make a man deeply attracted to a woman is calm confidence, not arrogance, not pretending you're better than everybody else. Real confidence. A confident woman doesn't walk into a room demanding attention. She doesn't need everyone to notice her because she already knows who she is. She can sit quietly and still have presence. She can disagree without becoming disrespectful. She can receive attention without becoming dependent on it. And most importantly, she doesn't change her personality just because a man she likes walks into the room. That is powerful, because when a man realizes that your happiness doesn't depend on whether he chooses you, something changes. He begins to understand that your attention is valuable. You are not desperate for his approval. You are not trying to convince him that you're beautiful, worthy, or deserving of love. You already believe those things about yourself. And confidence creates a completely different kind of attraction. Think about it. If you are constantly asking, does he or putting him at the center of your emotional world? But when you ask yourself, do I even like the way this man treats me? You take your power back. That shift changes everything. The second feminine quality is the ability to listen without trying to control the conversation. A woman who truly listens can make a man feel understood in a way that money, compliments, and attention cannot always accomplish. And listening does not mean agreeing with everything he says. It means giving someone enough space to reveal who they really are. When a man talks, don't always rush to tell him what he should do. Don't immediately turn his story into your story. Don't interrupt just because you already know where the conversation is going. Sometimes, just listen. Look at him. Let him finish. Ask a thoughtful question, because when someone feels safe enough to speak without constantly being corrected, they begin to associate your presence with peace. And peace is powerful. A man may be attracted to beauty when he first sees you, but he remembers the woman who made him feel comfortable being himself. That's why your energy matters so much. You don't have to perform femininity. You don't have to whisper, act helpless, or pretend you don't have an opinion. You can be strong and still be soft. You can be intelligent and still be warm. You can have boundaries and still have compassion. The goal isn't to become smaller for a man. The goal is to become emotionally secure enough that you don't have to dominate every moment to feel powerful. The third thing is graceful self-respect. This one is different from confidence. Confidence says, I know who I am. Self-respect says, and I know what I will and will not accept. A woman with self-respect doesn't threaten to leave every time she gets upset. She doesn't create drama just to test whether a man cares. She doesn't constantly announce her standards. She simply lives by them. If someone disrespects her repeatedly, she doesn't spend months explaining why respect matters. She makes a decision. And sometimes the most powerful sentence a woman can say is nothing at all. She doesn't have to insult him. She doesn't have to embarrass him. She doesn't have to beg for an apology. She simply removes herself from situations that continuously make her feel small. That kind of behavior gets noticed because there is a difference between a woman who is afraid of losing a man and a woman who refuses to lose herself. Never confuse the two. The fourth feminine quality is emotional control. And let me tell you something. Emotional control does not mean having no emotions. It means your emotions don't get to control every decision you make. Everybody gets angry. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody gets jealous sometimes. Everybody has moments when they want to say something they will regret 5 minutes later. But a woman who can pause before reacting has a different kind of power. Imagine a man says something that bothers you. Your first instinct might be to send 5 paragraphs. You want him to understand exactly how badly he hurt you. You want an immediate response. You want reassurance. But sometimes the strongest move is to breathe. Think, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Because not every situation deserves your emotional energy. Not every message needs an instant reply. Not every disagreement needs to become a battle. When you can control your reaction, you show maturity, and maturity is attractive. A man begins to realize that being around you doesn't mean walking through an emotional minefield. It means he can communicate with you. That doesn't mean you tolerate bad behavior. It means you can address problems without destroying the entire relationship in the process. There is strength in a woman who can say, that hurt me, without turning it into, you are a terrible person. There is strength in saying, I disagree, without saying, you never do anything right. There is strength in saying, I need some space, instead of using silence as punishment. And that strength creates respect. The 5th thing is having a life of your own. This is where many women accidentally give away their power. They meet someone they like, and suddenly everything else disappears. Their friends become less important. Their goals get pushed aside. Their hobbies disappear. Their entire schedule begins revolving around one man. And then they wonder why the relationship starts feeling heavy. A healthy connection should add to your life, not replace it. Keep building. Keep learning. Keep laughing with your friends. Keep pursuing your goals. Keep taking care of yourself. Keep becoming the woman you were becoming before he ever showed up. Because a man should be invited into your life, not made responsible for creating your life. There is something deeply attractive about a woman who has purpose. She isn't sitting around waiting for a text message to determine whether today is going to be a good day. She has things to do. She has dreams to chase. She has standards to maintain. She has a world that continues moving whether someone calls her or not. And that doesn't make her unavailable. It makes her complete. The 6th feminine quality is warmth without desperation. There's a huge difference between being loving and being needy. A warm woman can smile. She can show appreciation. She can give affection. She can compliment a man. She can make him feel valued. But she doesn't give endlessly just to receive something in return. She doesn't say, look at everything I've done for you. Every time she wants attention, she gives because generosity is part of who she is, not because she is trying to purchase someone's love. And that distinction matters. When affection comes from confidence rather than fear, it feels completely different. A man can feel when you're giving him love because you genuinely want to, and he can also feel when you're giving because you're terrified he'll leave. One feels like connection. The other feels like pressure. So don't be afraid to show warmth. Just don't abandon yourself while doing it. Smile because you're happy. Touch his hand because you want to. Tell him you appreciate him because you genuinely appreciate him. But never make affection the price you pay for being chosen. And the 7th quality is knowing when to be quiet, not silent as a manipulation, not silent to punish him. Quiet because you don't need to prove every point. A woman who understands the power of silence knows that sometimes people reveal more when you stop filling every empty space. You don't have to explain yourself 10 different ways. You don't have to chase someone for an answer. You don't have to keep asking, what are we? Every single day, sometimes, step back. Observe, watch what he does. Because actions often answer questions that words cannot. And when you stop talking long enough to observe, you begin to see clearly. You see whether he makes effort. You see whether he respects your boundaries. You see whether his words match his behavior. You see whether he values your presence or simply enjoys having access to you. That kind of awareness changes the way you love. You stop trying to force an outcome. You stop chasing potential. You stop making excuses for inconsistencies, and you start choosing based on reality. That is feminine power. It isn't manipulation. It isn't pretending you don't care. It isn't playing hard to get. It is caring about yourself enough to let people show you who they are. Because the right man doesn't need you to become less of yourself to keep him interested. He doesn't need you to chase him every day. He doesn't need you to compete for his attention. He will notice the woman who carries herself with confidence, warmth, emotional maturity, self-respect, purpose, and peace. And when a woman embodies those qualities, she doesn't have to announce her value. Her presence announces it for her. But remember this, the goal isn't to master 7 tricks that make a man fall for you. The goal is to become so secure within yourself that you no longer need tricks. Because when you know your worth, you stop asking, how do I make him choose me? You start asking, does this relationship deserve the woman I'm becoming? And that question can change your entire life. And that question can change your entire life. Because love should never require you to abandon yourself. The woman who constantly worries about being chosen will always feel like she is competing. But the woman who understands her value knows something different. She doesn't need to compete where she is genuinely appreciated. You see, real attraction is not built by chasing someone until they finally give you attention. It is built through the way 2 people experience each other. A man may notice your appearance first, but what makes him remember you is how he feels when he's around you. Does he feel respected? Does he feel understood? Does he feel peace? Does he feel inspired? Does he feel that you have a life, a purpose, and a heart of your own? Those things stay in a person's mind long after the conversation ends. That's why you should never underestimate the little things. The way you smile when you're genuinely happy. The way you maintain eye contact when someone is speaking. The way you say thank you without taking kindness for granted. The way you carry yourself when nobody is watching. The way you refuse to participate in unnecessary drama. The way you can walk into a room without needing everyone to validate you. These things may look small, but they communicate something powerful. They communicate security. And security is attractive because it tells a man, I don't need to control you, and you don't need to control me. A healthy relationship is not 2 incomplete people desperately trying to complete each other. It is 2 people who have developed themselves and now choose to share their lives. So if you want a man to notice you, don't spend all your energy trying to become his perfect woman. Become the strongest, healthiest, most authentic version of yourself. If you're naturally playful, be playful. If you're naturally thoughtful, be thoughtful. If you have dreams, pursue them. If you have standards, keep them. If something makes you uncomfortable, communicate it. And if someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, don't keep explaining your worth to someone committed to ignoring it. You are not supposed to convince someone to value you. You're supposed to recognize when someone does. That's a completely different mindset. And here's another truth that can save you from so much heartbreak. Attention is not the same thing as intention. A man can text you all day and still have no plans for a future with you. He can compliment you and still not respect you. He can tell you that you're beautiful and still give you inconsistent effort. So don't measure your value by how much attention you receive. Force the quality of the relationship. Look at consistency. Look at respect. Look at effort. Look at character. Look at whether his actions make you feel emotionally safe, because anybody can say the right words for a moment. Character reveals itself over time, and the same is true for you. You don't need to prove you're a high-value woman by constantly announcing your standards. Your behavior will reveal them. A woman with standards doesn't have to say, I have standards. She simply doesn't stay where she is, repeatedly disrespected. A confident woman doesn't have to say, I'm confident. She simply doesn't collapse when someone doesn't approve of her. A woman with self-respect doesn't have to announce, you can't treat me like that. Sometimes she simply decides that she won't continue accepting it. That's the difference between talking about your value and living it. And living your value is always more powerful. There will be moments when a man pulls away. There will be moments when someone you like doesn't choose you. There will be moments when you give your heart to someone who doesn't know what to do with it. And when that happens, don't immediately assume something is wrong with you. Sometimes rejection is not a reflection of your worth. Sometimes 2 people simply aren't aligned. Sometimes someone isn't ready. Sometimes someone wants something different. And sometimes the person you desperately wanted was never the person you actually needed. Don't destroy your confidence trying to understand why someone couldn't see your value. The right people don't require you to beg them to see it. Your job is not to force someone to fall for you. Your job is to become a woman you are proud to be. Then when someone enters your life, you don't approach love from desperation. You approach it from discernment. You don't ask, how can I make him stay? You ask, is he showing me that he deserves a place in my life? You don't ask, what can I do so he won't leave? You ask, does this relationship bring out the best in both of us? That is maturity. And maturity changes dating completely. You stop chasing chemistry and start looking for character. You stop obsessing over potential and start watching behavior. You stop falling in love with promises and start paying attention to patterns. And when you begin doing that, you become harder to manipulate and easier to respect. Never forget that. Your softness is not weakness. Your kindness is not weakness. Your femininity is not weakness. But softness without boundaries can become self-abandonment. Kindness without discernment can become being taken for granted. Love without self-respect can become losing yourself. So keep your heart open, but keep your standards strong. Be warm, but don't beg. Be affectionate, but don't chase. Be understanding, but don't make excuses for disrespect. Be vulnerable, but don't hand your entire identity to another person. And most importantly, never confuse being wanted with being valued. Being wanted can feel exciting. Being valued feels safe. Being wanted can happen in a moment. Being valued is demonstrated over time, and you deserve more than temporary attention. You deserve consistency. You deserve respect. You deserve communication. You deserve someone who appreciates the woman you are instead of constantly trying to turn you into someone easier to control. So remember those 7 qualities: confidence, listening, self-respect, emotional control, a life of your own, warmth without desperation, and the wisdom to know when silence is more powerful than another explanation. But don't practice these qualities just because you want a man to fall for you. Practice them because they will change the way you see yourself. And once you change the way you see yourself, you change the kind of treatment you accept. You change the kind of relationships you entertain. You change the way you respond to rejection. You change the way you handle attention. You change the way you walk away. And eventually, you realize something incredibly powerful. You were never supposed to chase love. You were supposed to become capable of recognizing healthy love when it arrives. The right man will not be intimidated by your confidence. He will respect it. He won't be threatened by your independence. He will admire it. He won't take your boundaries personally. He will understand them. He won't require you to constantly prove your loyalty. He will build trust with you. And he won't make you question your worth every single day. Because love should not feel like an audition. You shouldn't have to perform for a place in someone's life. You shouldn't have to become someone else to be loved. You should be able to stand in your truth and let the right person meet you there. So stop worrying about how to make him fall. Start focusing on how you want to live. Stop chasing attention. Start building confidence. Stop trying to control his feelings. Start controlling your own choices. Stop asking whether you're enough for someone. Ask whether the relationship is enough for you. Because the moment you stop begging to be chosen, you become free. And freedom is one of the most beautiful forms of feminine power. Walk with confidence. Love with warmth. Speak with honesty. Listen with intention. Protect your peace. Maintain your standards. And never forget who you were before somebody else entered your life. The woman who knows her worth doesn't need to chase. She doesn't need to manipulate. She doesn't need to compete. She simply shows up as herself. And the right man doesn't need to be convinced. He notices, he respects, he appreciates, and he chooses. So become the woman who doesn't need to say, I'm valuable. Let the way you live say it for you. Let your confidence say it. Let your peace say it. Let your boundaries say it. Let your purpose say it. Let your silence say it. And let your life become the proof. Because when you truly know your worth, you don't spend your life trying to make someone fall for you. You become the woman who knows she will never fall apart just because someone chooses not to. And that is the kind of strength no man can give you and no man can take away. If this message spoke to you, remember that your next level begins with the way you treat yourself today. Keep growing, keep protecting your peace, and keep becoming the woman you were always meant to be. And if you want more powerful relationship and self-worth lessons, stay connected because the next message might be exactly what you need to hear.